Welcome to the Angelscapes podcast, where you're encouraged to uncover and develop a direct connection with your soul's power, wisdom, and spiritual intuition that is ready to blossom. We'll explore new ideas, compelling tips, and real steps to help you learn simple spiritual practices. We're a safe place to learn more about accessing your soul's power with education and spiritual wholeness that could bring more clarity to your life. Now here's your host, a practicing medium, Akashic Records practitioner, spirit artist, coach, and mentor, Dr. Reverend Nancy Smith.
Are you reacting all over the place, but still aren't sure how you feel about that thing? How do you really feel? Do you need to solve a problem that you can't quite get to the bottom of the thing? Hello, this is Angelscapes, and I'm your host, Nancy Smith. And in this episode, you'll learn about mind mapping as a spiritual tool to dig past the noise that is interrupting you and to get to the root of what's really going on. And once you get to the root of your stuff, you can begin to bring calm, peace, and balance into your thought process. I talk about mind mapping in my book, Divine Love Affair and Akashic Journey. It's a part of the energy chapter on stuck energy and moving forward and recognizing where we keep referring back to our past, or we keep referring back to what we thought we knew to be true, and we can't quite go forward. And in this mind mapping, it's about sorting out reactions. It's about coming to grips with how we're reacting to things so that we can dig under and find out how we really feel. Oftentimes, when we react to things, we're just keeping ourselves from the inevitable feeling of it. And I want to tell you something about feelings and emotions. They are messengers, and they have a message to bring us. They usually have some teaching or some guidance, or they're just saying, whoa, watch out for that. And once we unpack the message that our emotions are sending to us, the emotions will change. Their energy in motion. They want to change. They want to grow. They have a life cycle of their own. But when we react to the feelings and the emotions and we don't let ourselves feel them, and we're stuck in our reactions to them, like anxiety or fear or diversion, procrastination, then we can't get to the true messenger. And that messenger will keep getting louder and louder and louder and knock on our cages and knock on our doors and wake us up at night until we actually sort it out and get down to the bottom of it. So getting underneath the reactions of it is about asking your emotions, who are you really? And in my book, I have a whole process. Actually, it's a visual process or a journaling process. It's kind of fun because you can draw circles and lines, and I recommend looking at it. I was going to share it online, but I don't want to make this a teaching thing. I just want to tell you about it. And if you want to learn about it, give me a shout out or get the book, Divine Love Affair and Akashic Journey. But in any event, say you're having a feeling or you're reacting to something, especially empaths, I something will be coming down the pike, or something will be coming down it kind of a future, or it's around me, but I don't consciously know about it. I'll start reacting. Because my higher mind, my subconscious mind knows what the deal is, and my body feels it and knows what the deal is, but my conscious mind is not going to go there. And so I start to have reactionary triggers or anxiety or what ifs, and I don't even know why I'm doing all that. And that's the key here. I'm not sure why I'm like this. I'm not sure what's happening. What are you really feeling? Where are these reactions coming from is a really good question to ask yourself. So what I like to do, and what the mind mapping teaches, is when I get to a place of I don't know, I just sit down and I put that emotion in front of me, whether it's an anxiety or nervousness or tension or crabbiness, and I say, who are you really? What are you really telling me? Because assume, and I think it's okay to decide that this is a reaction to something a little bit deeper. and sit with it and say, who are you really? What are you really telling me? And write down all of the reactions that you're having and all of the thoughts that you're having around those reactions. You're not smart enough, or you're not good enough, or you haven't done your homework, or they don't like you and nobody likes you, or any number of those things. I didn't spend enough time. I'm late on this, or um, she's not listening to me. He's not listening to me. And all of these things are ideas and thoughts that are bound or connected to our reactions. They're not connected to how we truly feel, nor are they connected to anything quite real. There may be a little bit of truth in what you're saying, but it's not the full truth. It's not the full understanding. So I like to sit those reactions down in front of me. Who are you really? Where are you pointing to? And what are you trying to tell me? Write down all of the negativities in there and go, okay, where are we going with this? So all the first things that you write down are reactions. And I like to write them all around a circle and leave the circle empty. And then I go into the circle and I said, what are you feeling? What are you feeling? And the emotion could be finally popping up. I'm afraid. What are you afraid of? So what's your fear telling you? And then you can just kind of draw a little speech bubble and say, okay, fear, what are you telling me? And the fear can tell you, well, this, that, I don't, the fear will tell you, if you allow it to have its own moment, if you allow it to have its own stage, and you're quiet and receptive within yourself, and you're not telling the fear how to behave, or you're not telling the fear what to do. You're simply saying, I'm really curious about you. What are you afraid of? What are you really telling me? And let the fear talk to you. And here's the thing, once you observe something, it changes. Once you observe something with love and in sacred space, it changes, but the vibration will influence how it changes. You cannot change the way you feel. You simply can't. We cannot change the way that we feel, but by observing it, by becoming in relationship to this energy, we can influence a shift. We can get the message. We can get the wisdom, even though it doesn't feel like there's wisdom there. There is. Trust me, there is. But we need to dig a little bit deeper. So back to letting fear tell you who it is and all the stuff it's going to say, and just write it all down. And then when you feel like it's done, you feel like you've got everything that the fear has to say, I want you to just look at fear. You've got it written across your page in big letters, hopefully. And you say, who are you really? Who are you really? What you're disguised as something. I know it. So what do you take off this disguise and show me the next emotion, and just wait and breathe and wait and love yourself through it. Have a lot of compassion and let the next emotion bubble up. And when you feel it and when you can recognize it, make another speech bubble, write it down. What do you have to tell me? What is important to you that you are showing up in my life? What is your message? Because your feelings are intelligent. They're you, and your feelings love you, and your emotions and feelings are in service to you. And our feelings and emotions, once we can really dig down into them, are our direct connection to our soul. And our intuition can feed them, and they can feed our intuition, and we can really grow from them. So they're not our worst enemies. The reactions are a little troublesome, but I've just told you how to get through those. Write them all down, or give them their air, and then ask them, who are you really? And these energies and motions, these, like I said, they're intelligent. They desire the light. They desire to go to their higher vibration. They want to blossom. They want to grow. They want to do their talents. They want to do their dreams, do their dance. They don't want to get stuck into the package of, I have to deliver this package and she hates me. He hates me. He doesn't want to hear it. And so the vibration will keep sending out zingers, which really can cause you to react and decide things that aren't exactly true about you, really, how you're really feeling. So do this a few times. Who are you really? Let it all come out. Who are you really? Let it all come out. And you'll see that once something is observed, it does change. Once something is observed with love and appreciation, it changes to a higher octave of itself. So the piece of this is becoming your own sacred witness. Did you notice that? All of a sudden, you're not in the middle of the reaction as we're writing these things down, or as we're asking your feelings. What are you telling me? What is your message? we are now the recipient and the observer. We're not the fixer. And that's a real key important thing to remember. We're allowing our feelings and emotions to do the job they were designed to do. So this sacred witness, and why I call it the sacred witness, is because you're taking the time to be neutral and aware. And as a spiritual practice, you want to take the time to be neutral and aware in the hands of your soul, in the presence of God, in the presence of the God source, because it's the God source that's supporting this work and helping you do this work. So the sacred witness is a stepping into your own awareness, and it's a powerful place to be because you're no longer in the middle of the moving energy. You're in the middle of who you are and who you're meant to be. You're your aware self, your powerful self. And so these energies, these emotions aren't buffeting you around like a tornado or a hurricane. They're actually you're giving these energies confidence and safety to express themselves. Your reactions think you're not going to handle it, so they're going to tamp down the actual feelings, and and all mayhem breaks loose because when you feel yourself being vulnerable and in a position of possibly being hurt, what you do is your protectors come up, and the reactions and the reasons why you shouldn't feel these feelings are very, very important and towards your well-being, so they think. But when you're in your aware self, you're in your power self, you're in your strong self. When children are traumatized, whatever it could be, there's lots of different ways to traumatize a child, but when a child is traumatized to the point where they can't function anymore, they can't do their normal things that they know how to do, the brain will take over, or a part of yourself will take over and say, we have to survive, we have to socialize, we have to do what we have to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to forget this memory, and we're going to dissociate from this memory, and we're going to go ahead and do our lives so that we can thrive, so we can do well and move forward in life. But there's always that trauma in the background, and there's always those parts of yourself that are not letting you feel, that are not letting you go forward, and they can build on each other to the point they said she can't or he can't or feel any feelings at all. That's never feeling your feelings. It's not safe. We're never going to let it happen. And your unconscious self does nevers, should be's, it ought to be language. So when you're in that kind of language, you're in a limited thinking. You're also in a stuck energy. To get out of the stuck energy, the first step is to become that aware self and ground yourself and center yourself. I like to think of it as just under my heart, with my heart expanding, loving myself, and letting that all-powerful higher power spirit come and surround me and then support me in my sovereign self, in my sacred witness. And when we're in that power, those reactionary emotions that are trying to protect us no longer have the power. They no longer have the central stage. And who has a central stage? It's who we choose to have a central stage, which is I want to know what these emotions are telling me. I want to unpack the message. The reactions are not the emotions. They're covering them. So we need to kind of gently work through recognizing, appreciating, but getting underneath it. Self-observation is kind of a surrendering. It's kind of an acceptance of yourself. As you surrender to the situation or to the emotions, you're saying, I see you. I'm not going to change you. I want to see you. I want to know you. And I'm okay within myself knowing you. And as I know you, I love you and I appreciate you. It's working with a group of people who in healing, we were learning a healing modality, and I took them through a practice called somatic presencing. Basically, it's a recognizing your pain and viewing your pain in an abstract form: color, texture, thoughts, how big is it, how small is it, what's the temperature, and not trying to fix it, but simply being as present for that pain, whether it's emotional, physical, psychological, and appreciating it, not judging, not making a label, just simply loving that presence. And as we invite our souls and our guardian angels to come in and love with us, it's a lot of love going there, the energy starts to change. So you can go back and review, what color are you now? How big are you now? What is, you can actually see a change, intuitively see a change. And when we do these practices, it's rare. It's like the first time ever that we actually loved ourselves without judging ourselves, which we actually saw self as precious and as important and as sacred. And as we do that, it's the most powerful thing that we can possibly do for ourselves in terms of healing. We're creating a sacred, safe space for our body or our emotions, physical, mental, psychological bodies to come forward and express themselves as who they are. And once something is observed, and you know who's observing it, your sacred witness, along with your God source and along with your spirit guides, whoever you want to bring in. And that is accepting and surrendering to who you are without trying to change it. And I'm telling you, I'm working with this group, and many of them are healers. I've already had a lot of healing modalities. And it was so hard for some of them to do it because they saw the pain and the colors, and they're very visual and it's very exciting to see all this. And then they wanted to fix it. Well, if we take the red and we're going to stretch it out, or we're going to bring some other light into it, it's going to change. And that just takes away the wisdom and the understanding that our bodies have. We have cellular memory, and the cellular memory is protecting us and is holding something very special for us. And it wants to be respected, it wants to be heard, and it wants to blossom in its own way. Once we try to change something that has its own energy, it has its own intelligence, we are no longer in service to it. We're now trying to fix something. And when we fix something, we are deciding that we know more than the wound knows. And if you ever, in person to person, ask somebody for help, or ask somebody to give you a hand, or ask somebody to explain something, and suddenly they become kind of like a teacher, or kind of like controlling, or kind of like, you don't know that? Let me tell you what you need to do. Let me tell you who you are. Let me tell you who I am. And all you wanted to do is get an answer to a question. But you feel diminished sometimes, you have a reaction to it, or you feel like, am I that, should I have known that? Am I not that smart? Or whatever your reaction to it takes you away from the actual exchange that you're asking for. So we do that to ourselves all the time. So if we can step into that place of sacred witness, which is neutral, and surrender to where you are, who you are, and just love yourself, listen to yourself. It's probably the first time you've ever been heard, and you're exactly the right person to do that. Then you will start to feel the truth of who you are, and that place becomes safe to be vulnerable. And within your vulnerability is your most powerful talents, gifts, and strengths. And that's the best gift that you could give to yourself. So when we going back to the mind mapping, that mind mapping is a way for you to use a structure that will help you express, dig deep, and be safe in feeling who you really are, or feeling your feelings for who they really are. And then as you observe your feelings for who they really are, you start to understand who you really are, because you're letting it out of the box. And as you let something out of the box, it's not a Pandora's box. As a matter of fact, it's a box with a beautiful tree inside. And then all it's growing, and then there's this fruit, and there's this happiness, and then there's this acceptance and this love, and you feel like you've never felt self-love before. And you know what I mean? It's the beginning of self-love. And in the mind mapping, and in this, the discovery of what your emotions have for you, you need to learn to ask yourself questions, the right questions that will help you make progress. Not the questions of, what do you think you are? What did you think you were doing? What is this going on here? Not those questions. It's like, but who are you? Who are you really? What are you trying to tell me? And I feel you. I see you. I accept you. I'm here with you. There are emotions that can come up from our very core essence that are very, very young. And trauma can happen to us, or thoughts can happen to us before we have verbal and language. And sometimes these emotions and these thoughts, they're young. They're like 2 years old or 18 months old, or they don't have a strong language base. They just have those strong emotions. and being willing to sit with those strong emotions and knowing that they're not going to destroy you, but those strong emotions, loving yourself. Imagine loving a little toddler. If you don't have kids or haven't had kids around you in a while, just go somewhere where you could observe little toddlers running around, or very young people, pre-verbal, and see how they communicate with their parents, see how they communicate with their siblings, see how they communicate with the swing they're trying to swing on. And you'll be able to recognize those parts within yourself. And as you uncover what's under this one, what's under this, and you have a very raw emotion, that emotion isn't you. That emotion is the message is, I want to, what is it? What could it be? I want to feel safe. I just want you to hold me. And in your imagination, you can hold yourself as you imagine that emotion as a young version of yourself. Hold it. And in your imagination, you can even go as far as having a pillow, something, a surrogate, that you could feel affection for. You're safe now. I see you. I understand that you're feeling this way, and I'm right here. What do you need? How can I serve you? Will change everything in your life. I've seen my students and my clients change significant things in their lives. They're not changing it, but by recognizing the emotions and the feelings that are grounded in some pain. Once something is observed, it's changed. Once something is loved, it grows on its own. It has its own DNA, it has its own structure, and it can blossom up to give you wisdom, peace, and balance that you never thought you ever could get to before, ever. So I just want to tell you real quickly, I'm looking here to see if anyone has any questions on Facebook. We have a couple comments here, and I look in here, and so happy Tuesday, happy snowy Tuesday, everyone. I'm good to see you all, Karen and Jody and Marilyn and Maria. If you have any questions or any thoughts or things you want to share, just let me know. And I wanted to tell you that very quickly, I have angelscapes.net. Is my website. You can read up on my mentorships on my website, and my readings and how I help people. This is through different obstacles in their life into spiritual growth. And this is a tool that I would use in a mentorship situation, not so much a reading, which is there more readings are one-off, and they were doing assessments and they were kind of going deep. And so once we go to that deep place and say, I'd like to do more with this, we could step into kind of a relationship where we can build a safe space between us, and we can exchange information. And as we exchange the information, you can learn and grow. And there's many different levels of mentorships. The first one would be to get an hour and a half reading for me after you've had an assessment. And the next mentorship would be a series of 3 sessions together. And then we have 3 months and we have 6 months. Little wanted to tell you about that. And the special thing that I do in my mentorships is I still continue to do intuitive readings with you. I walk with you and through everything that you do, and I'm connected to your soul. I do a lot of mediumship work, and all of this mentorship work is like soul mediumship, where I'm listening to your guides and to your soul and what they have to say about what you're going through. And so as you walk through it, as I hold space, I'm also delivering, if you want to hear it, information from your soul and helping you to tie it all together. So it's a very intimate and a very spiritual and a very in-depth connection that we make. And I love sharing about this because I've seen people grow and learn tremendously. Unfoldments in a spiritual unfoldment, personal unfoldment, intuitive unfoldments, and take yourself from from one step in your life to a whole nother step and a whole nother level. So that's the explanation of what I do. But why I'm talking to you about this and how I said briefly that this mind mapping is in my energy chapter that talks about stuck energy and energy that refers back to the past rather than moving forward. When we have trauma, we started to talk a little bit about trauma, whether it's early childhood, whether it was yesterday. The trauma wants to express itself and the trauma wants to heal. The trauma wants to ground itself. The trauma wants to find a reason, a purpose, which is kind of on a spiritual level. But because the pain or the disappointment is so complete, that what the emotion does and what we do mentally is to continue to go back through what happened, and we keep referring back to the situation or the trauma that happened. And so we're constantly trying to figure it out. And as we're figuring it out, we're in a cycle of stuck energy. Energy, what really needs to happen to heal, or to really kind of come to terms with what is going on, or come to the wisdom of it, and then come to the resources for helping yourself, is really more of a cycle of a Mobius strip or an infinity sign, where the energy to really grow and learn, the energy comes out from your heart or out from wherever your body needs to express itself, and it goes up to your upper chakras, or up to heaven, to the Akashic realm, and it gets the wisdom, it gets the guidance. Sometimes it's subtle, and so we don't know completely consciously, but our subconscious, our higher self, is getting the rewards from that. Then the energy comes back down through our back, because we receive through our back, and it kind of brings us up to speed. It kind of talks to us, and then the energy begins to travel down into the earth to get the resources to ground us in our humanity, and then it comes and it gets more little pieces of wisdom and healing and resources, and it comes back up through our backs again, and it gives us the gifts that we need. And these cycles need to happen over and over and over again until we've built enough of the energy. It begins to drip down to our conscious mind. So we're in our conscious self getting, oh, I get that. Oh, now I understand that. But if the energy is stuck and we keep referring back to the trauma, and you can tell that you have stuck energy, is because you keep talking about the trauma in the same way. The story doesn't change for the most part, or if it does change, it gets worse, and the pain gets worse, and the upset gets worse. So you're stuck in the moment, as the song goes, and you can't get out of it. And it's these mind mapping tools, or the different meditation tools of just imagining that your energy is seeking a higher source, is seeking a higher power. And that's where the energy can begin to shift within you. So I really would love for you to try these tools out. Go ahead and get the Divine Love Affair and Akashic Journey, and see if there's any thing that you can gather from that. So Gail asks me, I hear the term hold space a lot. Can you explain what that means and how you do that? And we love to do that. Holding space is kind of a catch-all phrase, but what it means is you're observing something and you're allowing it to be itself, and you're allowing it to transform. So holding the space, go back to that semantic presencing. You're sitting in love. You're not judging. You're not deciding. You're not changing. You're simply having your heart is full of love for the person who's doing whatever they're doing, and you're not judgment. You're that neutral witness that is full of compassion and full of love. No expectations. You're going to do things at your own pace, in your own way, and it's all fine. And that's holding space for somebody to be their highest and best. As we're healers, and I've talked to so many healers that are on the healing path to learn how to be healers, is that we don't heal anybody. We simply have a vibration that we bring to people that reminds their soul, their bodies, how to heal. And then they find their own way into the healing. So we're holding the space of love and compassion and high vibration for that person to be safe within that place. But if we start to judge them, if we start to say, oh, this is because your childhood here, or this is because you never learned how to do such and such, we immediately destroy the sacred space, and the person can't move forward. And I think as healers, we need to realize that the woundedness that people have is teaching them, probably on a soul level, and there's a purpose for that woundedness. And that if they're not ready to move forward from it or let it go, we simply hold space for them. We simply love them, respect them, have a dignity for them that you are an intelligent being. You're smarter than I am. You know yourself better than I do. Your soul knows you better than I do. And I'm just going to remember to love you and have compassion for you. And to me, that's what holding space is. It's kind of like I get the image of teaching a child how to ride a two-wheeler, and you want to take off the training wheels. I don't know if they do that anymore, but because there's new kinds of bikes out there. But you're letting that person learn how to ride their bike. They're learning how to talk to their body. They're learning how to talk to the laws of physics. And you're maybe holding the back of the bike for a little bit as you run along with them, or you're giving them encouragement, but they have to learn how to ride the bike themselves. If you do it for them, you're adding to the training wheel effect. But you can do this is holding space. You can do this when you're ready to do this is holding space. So that's that. What I want to talk to you a little bit more is our cellular memories within our bodies. We remember and retain everything. And our body is a repository of memories. It's the memories. It can be a repository of past life memories. It can be a repository of ancestral memories, but it really remembers them. And at some point, some of those memories kind of want to come out. Or they kind of want to tell you, hey, remember this? And here's the rules around this. And here's how I felt about this. And if we want to move forward to from not knowing how to ride a bike to riding a bike, we need to work with our body and our cellular memory that says, whoa, if I fall down, I'm going to skin my knee too. If you fall down and skin your knee, I'll fix you. I'm with you. You're not alone. I understand how you're feeling. And our cellular memories helps keep us safe. It helps keeps memories in a place where we can develop and learn without the burden of some of the traumas or some of the memories. And healing is about respecting those cellular memories and giving them permission to reveal themselves so that they can learn and grow and heal and develop. See what I'm saying? So cellular memory is not something to decide you know better. Your body knows better than you. And so in some of this work, it's where we're getting to that physical and knowing, and we're respecting ourselves. Our biological selves, our human selves are amazing. And if we respect ourselves, our body will know what to do. And if we respect our higher power, our soul knows what to do. And your body has a better connection to your soul and your intuition than you and your mind does. So if you're getting the goosebumps or getting the heebie-jeebies or you're feeling a certain way, stop, check in. What's going on? What are you picking up? What do you know that I am not aware of? And that's cellular memory. And cellular memory and intuition need to be friends. You don't come between them. If you come between them, you've broken the link and you've broken your ability to develop your intuition to move forward. So we want to tell you how important cellular memory is. Let me see if I have anything else. Oh, great. You understand it now, Gail? That is really awesome. So hi, Lauren. Oh my gosh, all my buddies are here. Hi, Yvette. So good to see you. This is a short evening because I know that everyone wants to go out and get their hot cocoa and watch the snow or make a snowman or something. But I'm really happy to be here on this snowy evening. And when you listen to the podcast, just imagine all the snows around us and take the time to feel your feelings. And sometimes you have feelings that you never recognized before. You never admitted that you had those feelings, or they just kind of surprise you. I didn't know I felt that way about that. And thank yourself and honor yourself. And this is a strong pathway to soul power living, to living a full life, to trusting yourself. And when you trust yourself, you're loving yourself. And when you're loving yourself, your intuition and your spirit has a room to grow. And when your spirit has a room to grow, your creativity flowers. And as your creativity flowers, your life will change. That's the pathway of soul power living. And so this mind mapping is a very good tool to get you on that path. So everything I bring to you guys is one tool or exposing you to a new idea that will help you on your soul power journey. So again, Mind Mapping and Divine Love Affair and Akashic Journey, page 136. and go ahead and grab that book and see what you can do with yourself. And if you get stuck, make an appointment with me. I'd love to help you. This is transformational stuff, and this is integration stuff, and this is ascension. This is where the ascension takes place at its root level. So if you're really especially interested in doing ascension work, this is it right here. All right. So peace be with you. May you go in love, may you go in happiness, and may you feel your feelings and find your joy. Amen. Take care.
Thank you for joining the Angelscapes podcast. We hope you've gained new insights and inspiration for your journey to uncover and access your soul's power. For more information and a deeper dive into finding clarity in your life, go to angelscapes.com. Remember to subscribe so you can be part of the discussion. It may just change your life. See you next time.